on 4th of March 2021. Beautiful Thursday evening. We have got 709th webinar. We have come a long way. We started on 25th of March. Imagine what a long journey, totally dedicated to education empowerment. During the entire pandemic, coronavirus, we have been meeting, greeting, treating, and being with principals, vice chancellors, directors, teachers, counselors, everybody together on a common platform during the coronavirus time. And now the post-pandemic, when we come, because things are improving. At the same time, little challenges in some of the states and provinces and districts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's extend a very hearty welcome. On 1st of February 2021, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, the Honorable Finance Minister of India, gave the budget. In that budget, she talked about 100 Sainik schools to come up in PPP mode. That means the private sector, that means private schools, NGOs, state governments, together the permutation combination to be worked out how these 100 schools have to be set up. Now, keeping that particular profile in mind, we are moving ahead in the journey. And from 2nd of February onward, 1st February was the budget, 2nd February we started, and we are having Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days a week. We are having deliberations exclusively with our brother officers from the armed forces, Army, Navy, and Air Force, that what should be the structure of these Sainik schools. When we learn from their vast reservoir and experiences, where they have been associated and deeply merged with the Sainik schools wherever they served. Today we are privileged. We have got Colonel PNSS Subramaniam Sahab. He is from the Army Education Corps. And the best part is when I see down below, founder Sri Tyagaraja Sangeeta Kalashreshtam. That is Music Academy. Now, music has got a great linkage with the education. We would certainly take on the journey with him and we will talk with him what exactly he is doing. And we will take his long experience of the armed forces as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, our chamber, which is basically taking care of the relationship with the non-resident Indians, all our brothers and sisters, Indian diaspora abroad, along with them the corporate sector, and then the government interface. So together, from time to time, we are developing the concept papers, blueprints, action plan, roadmaps, strategies, policy document, giving to the government from time to time. And during this entire difficult time of 2020 and now, like doctors, nurses, and paramedical people were doing their job as a great warrior, let me assure you that the teachers are also great warriors. They made sure that education should not get disrupted, and whatever means, modes were available, they made sure that education reaches out, because 1.65 billion children were away from schools and colleges world over. So whether through mobile phone, radio, television, whatever devices they found and means they found, teachers have done a great job. Great salutations to all of them. India, right from the beginning, believes in Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That means the whole world is one family. The new education policy given to India on 29th of July, which is a game changer as it's on the verge of implementation. Honorable Prime Minister of India wants to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat. And that's what basically the finance minister also discussed when she gave these 6 pillars. Pillar number 4 is reinvigorating human capital, what we are discussing. These are the key reforms for education sector in the budget, what we are taking. And today we talk about point number 2, that is new 100 Sainik schools which have to come up in India. That's what we are deliberating. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you are sending me lots of WhatsApp, let me say namaskar to you. And here it goes in Hindi to everybody. Namaskar, welcome. Do join us from whole country, different states, different places, wherever you are. So 100 new Sainik schools to be set up in partnership with the NGOs, private school and states. We have discussed that 9.5% increase is there in the budget allocation. Look at these small kids, wonderful kids. They are the future of the world. Not only of India, they are the future of the world. And they will do great job. 55th Central University will be set up in Leh Ladakh area. And the other day, our chamber has done the complete study where we have given you, once this university comes up, how the economy of this particular area will change. And we have drawn the complete econometric model, how the youth will be engaged, what will be the new job opportunities, how the level of education will go up, and a couple of other things we have taken. 750 Eklavya schools. Yes, great job. Skills are also very important with education, because if you get the right skills, then only it helps you a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about India, we have done some kind of MOUs with the United Arab Emirates, as well as we have done with the Japan. A lot of youth have to go to Japan, and a lot of youth have to go to United Arab Emirates also. And if you recall, 83 billion US dollar equivalent, the money has been remitted as a FDI by NRIs last year. And the maximum share has come to Kerala. Now you would say how it is, because it is Middle East. You cannot purchase a property alone over there. So it's better to remit back home so that your families can be supported and they can be taken care of. And if I correctly remember, it's roughly about 19 million, 19 billion, which has come exclusively to Kerala. Here are my brother officers from the armed forces. They have been coming right from 2nd of February. Proud of them. We started with Colonel Sudhanshu Aryaji, Colonel Inder Mohanji, because today also we are meeting Colonel Subramanyam ji via Colonel Inder Mohanji, his efforts. He's a great soldier. I only pray to Almighty for his good health, and everything should be fine with him. Colonel Amarjit Singh, Meritorious School, Ludhiana, he also came. Colonel Palaramji, he had come, and more he talked about sports. Then we had Major General Ranjit Singh ji, and he gave a lot of valuable inputs. Colonel K. Mukherjee had come. He also gave us some new dimensions. And Colonel Arun Datta at present is running a Gurukul in Kurukshetra and nearby places. He's doing a great job. After a few days, I wish to visit his place and to see the entire network, what all he has developed on ground. Major General J.S. Goman, he also gave lots of input to us. Colonel Shekhar was also very vocal and gave a lot of ideas. Major General S.S. Nair Sahab, I contacted him first in Kerala, and thereafter I got in touch with him in Pilani. Great soldier, he gave us a lot of valuable inputs. Colonel Rajendra Singh Nehra ji, 2 Sainik schools he established while being in uniform, and now out of uniform. Another school he has set up next to Nalanda. Once again, Buddhism is next to my heart. I'll be visiting him shortly. Dr. Sanjay Kumar Bahal Sahab, you are a civilian, great soldier. You are in civil clothes, but you are a soldier. You are a great person, because so much you have done and given to me inputs. Colonel Prasad, great soldier. Colonel Hari Dubey ji, wow, we remember your Chinese language, foreign language is very important. Group Captain Ajay Kumar, the first day experience which he got in Nagrota, wow, it was very hilarious. It was something very interesting, and we all got very happy. And Colonel PNSS Subramanyam ji, you are also given a very warm welcome this evening by
Thank you,
Colonel
sir.
Inder Mohan ji. Now, Colonel Devdutt Chaudhary ji, he had come once again, very practical, lot of ideas. Brigadier B. Ajit Kumar Nair was to come. He was little unwell, so he'll be coming subsequently. Colonel C. Ravindra Reddy ji gave lot of valuable inputs yesterday. 180 kilometers away from Hyderabad at Karimnagar. It was a treat to deal with him and discuss with him and to know from him so many inputs he has given yesterday. We are proud of this soldier. Our chamber deeply believes that education to be linked with skills, skills linked to be with entrepreneurship, and some kind of an opening which has to be done. Now, Sainik schools are going to be set up with the different objectives. We will talk about it. During the pandemic, we collected the data, we collected statistics from the whole world, and basic food, basic health, basic education. B2B is no more business to business. It is back to basics, sustainable development of the world, which we have to talk about. Teacher and youth empowerment is once again very important. If India has to become Atmanirbhar, it's only by the route of education, skills, and startups and self-employment. We are doing almost 12 hours beaming every day. We are having 28 webinars per week, and we are proud that we set up India's first finishing school setup way back in 1994, and we brought basically for soft skills and life skills, and nowadays for incubation center, finishing labs, utter tinkering labs, a lot of things. Everything is going to be possible on this universe and on this planet only if we have women empowerment, because they play very important role. If the humanity has to develop, they got to be taken care of. Let us save every drop of water, because during pandemic we collected data and we found that things are going to be very difficult. Some of the cities are going to run out of water. This week is once again very important for women empowerment, because 8th of March is basically an International Women Day. So our chamber is organizing week-long activities. We started on 1st of March, and before that we have done the curtain raiser. Now 1st of March, Western India; 2nd March, Southern India; 3rd March, we have come to Northern India. And tonight at 8 p.m., we have got Eastern India. And I was telling Colonel Subramaniam ji that tomorrow on 5th of March from Hyderabad, there is going to be a live telecast. We are going to have 10,000 audience, and that is going to be the school students empowerment, what we are discussing, and subsequently other programs. This was basically the first program on 1st March. This was on 2nd March. This was on 3rd March. This is today, tonight at 8 p.m., 4th of March. Kindly do join us. You'll be able to meet the celebrities from northeast part of India. That's what we are going to discuss. Lights on kar dijiye dono taraf se. Then tomorrow is making education relevant. When we talk about this, is we are having tomorrow, that is on Friday, 5th of March. Don't forget to join us. And ladies and gentlemen, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together. Let's make education relevant, because education is the only route to global peace, prosperity, happiness, growth, brotherhood. 100 Sainik schools, which are coming up in PPP mode. We got to deliberate and discuss what are the challenges. Let's take it on with Colonel PNSS Subramaniam ji, and we would like to learn from him this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a very warm welcome to this decorated soldier, honored to have him this evening with us. It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
And he is joining us from Secunderabad, that is Telangana, a beautiful place, beautiful weather, beautiful people. If you want to get quality education, and most of us, we have enjoyed the movie called, what is that called? Bahubali Part 1 and Bahubali Part 2. So don't forget Hyderabad and don't forget Secunderabad and all. Last I visited, I had a lunch with the hero, and he was so shy, such a fine boy. When I met him, he said, sir, on screen what you see is altogether different, but in the real life, life has to be taken with reality. So ladies and gentlemen, while extending a very warm welcome to Colonel Sir, let's listen from him, hear from him, get the inputs, and let's get an idea what exactly is his journey when he was with the Sainik School, how the things moved, and what exactly is he doing at present. Because the moment I hear a word called music, a lot of things move into my cerebrum. So kindly take on the floor, sir, all yours.
Thank you very much, sir. At the outset, I must thank you, sir. I'm indebted to you, and thank you from the depths of my heart, because you have given me a wonderful opportunity to speak here on the on this webinar, and I'm very grateful. And before me, already my super seniors, they have already spoken. So, in fact, my humble salutes to each one of them, because under their guidance, I was groomed in the Army Educational Corps. And thanks to each one of them, because I have learned a lot all these days, almost for the last 1 week or so. I was very busy listening to each one of them. And, I was trying to prepare my own notes based on those points. And of course, coupled with my experience, which I gained while I was posted in Sainik School Satara as the headmaster, I prepared some certain points from which are purely from my personal experience. They are based on my personal experience. So I would like to commence, sir, with your permission.
Please go ahead, sir.
Very good evening, sir, at the outset, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it is an honor to be participating in this brainstorming session. Thanks to Dr. Gulshan Sharma ji. Well, he is also a veteran soldier, and in fact, a super senior to me. So that way, I got immense honor for him, and I'm happy and thank the Almighty that I came in contact with him through this particular forum. Well, I call it a brainstorming session, as already above 700 webinars. Today's is 709th webinar. They have been conducted, and churning of ideas is in progress. It's a welcome declaration by the Honorable Finance Minister, Madam Sitharaman ji, to start 100 Sainik schools in the country. As per the available information, initially, the idea of opening of 1,000 Sainik schools throughout the country was mooted. However, there was a change of decision at highest level, and it was finally decided to start 100 Sainik schools to begin with. At the outset, I am a strong proponent of opening of more Sainik schools in the country, as the military-oriented training is imparted to the students. And in the bargain, more citizens of the country will be having an exposure to the military way of life. Before I get into the details of my proposal, I would like to introduce myself to all of you. I am Colonel PNSS Subramaniam. I have got a very long name to my credit. My full name, if I say, it may take a minute perhaps. Anyhow, I'll just read it out. It may be an amusing thing for you. My surname is Palaparthi Narsimha Srinivasa Siva Subramaniam. My father, he gave the names of all gods, because I was a late born. So I'm Colonel PNSS Subramaniam. My surname is Palaparthi. Got commissioned on 8th June 1985 and retired on 31st March 2017 after serving the army as an education officer for 32 long years. As a part of my journey, I did 1 year infantry attachment with the 3rd First Gorkha Rifles and completed my young officers course at Pachmadi. Thereafter, I had two tenures at brigade headquarters, one at Ladakh and one at Port Blair. 2 tenures each at Department of Mathematics, National Defence Academy, and ACC Wing IMA Dehradun as instructor, and later I took over as head of the department also. I also had a prestigious appointment as staff officer training and coordination at my alma mater, that is AEC Training College and Center, Pachmadi. It is our second home. Further, I was fortunate to serve at Special Frontier Force and at 2 core headquarters, one at Tejpur and the other one at Dimapur. The most satisfying tenure of my career was at Sainik School Satara, the oldest Sainik school, in fact, the first Sainik school, as headmaster from May 2003 to August 2006. In fact, I had an extended tenure of 6 months because on the demand of parents during the parents' meet, the Ministry of Defence has extended my tenure by 6 months. Because I was not only headmaster, I was also taking classes in mathematics to class 11th and 12th students. So that was one of the most interesting part of it. I really enjoyed thoroughly because my experience as an instructor at NDA and ACC wing, IMA, they really helped me out to continue as a teaching professional. So then, what about my civil qualifications? I did my MSc in Applied Mathematics from NIT Warangal with B.Ed. B.Ed also, of course, I did through Annamalai University. And I did 2 PG diplomas, one in journalism and one in public relations. I call Sainik School tenure as the most satisfying as it involved the molding of young, impressionable minds. They were like, a clay. How if clay is given to an artist, how the artist molds it. That is what that depends upon the talent and the interest and the aptitude of the trainer, so or the artist. So that way, I consider myself to be very fortunate to lay an indelible impression on my students, because most of them are in touch with me even till date, and they look at me with a lot of awe and respect. So it involved absolute commitment, dedication, devotion, and application of all my latent skills. I had to muster all my courage, all my skills together just to do justice to the job which was offered to me in Army. It was a great honor to be the trainer in such an elite school. It was a self-driven, self-motivated, and deliberate decision to take on the mantle considered to be a diksha. The moment I joined the school, I made it a point that I adopt all 600 children. They are my wards, in fact. So that is how I developed that heart-to-heart link with them, that love for the institution, the love for the children. I developed it from within. So this quality is a demanding requirement at that point of time. So I integrated myself with the outfit out there in that fashion. So let me come on to the brass tacks. The question which comes to our mind is, why only 100 Sainik schools? Why not any other kind of schools? They can be Navodayas, they can be Kendriya Vidyalayas, or even any government schools. They can be even private schools also, or corporate schools. Why not? Clearly, it reflects the success of the concept of Sainik schools as the providers of quality educational services along with basic military training. It is worth mentioning here, conscription is done in 28 countries. So 28 conscription, what is conscription? This is what is important. Conscription means the compulsory enlistment of people into military service. So 28 countries have adopted this. Military training public service, with a few exceptions, is mandatory for every citizen, irrespective of gender, in these countries. These countries include Israel, Norway, Iran, South Korea, Mexico, and a host of other countries. The list is very long because I told you 28 countries have adopted this model. The age range for conscription, which I already told you, that is compulsory military training or service. The age range is 18 to 27 years. So the minimum military service liability, it also varies from country to country. Some countries it is for 2 years, some is for 6 months, some is for 1 year, like that. However, ours is world's largest democracy. Any compulsion gives rise to violent criticism. So we should be aware of such violent criticism. Hence, it is not practicable to make a few years of military service mandatory for all citizens of the nation. Ideally, this situation will refrain people from doubting the valor of our great soldiers and asking for evidences for their heroic deeds. it happened just recently. You all know, you all are aware of it. Balakot is one example, and even Galvan, lot of controversy is going on in this regard. So whosoever wants to ask the questions like this, and whosoever they ask for the evidence in public, for them, I think, if had they undergone the military training, then I think perhaps they would have given a thought to such a violent criticism of the soldiers who are really guarding our, securing our borders and guarding our nation against any external aggression. Therefore, ideally, this situation will refrain people from doubting the valor of our great soldiers and asking for evidences for their heroic deeds. Also, military service in our country is voluntary. With this view, at the most, we can inculcate the military ethos and values in the youth through such devoted institutions such as Sainik Schools and military schools, RIMC, etc. Thus, it is welcome to have more number of such institutions in the country to awaken the youth with the spirit of patriotic fervor, self-discipline, punctuality, integrity, moral values, accountability, and responsibility with a constructive, positive outlook in a democratic way. Already, the existing Sainik School alumni imbibed with these qualities, they have been in fact indoctrinated by people like us as children, as they were students once upon a time. So therefore, these alumni, they have proved their capabilities in various spheres of life with their outstanding leadership traits. It includes politics, business, then armed forces, paramilitary forces, police, many, I mean, you name a field, we have got our alumni there. We, the Sainik School Satara boys, we call ourselves as Ajinkyans, because Ajinkya fort of Shivaji Maharaj, it is located in Satara. So therefore, the boys who pass out from Satara are known as Ajinkyans. So the spirit of Ajinkyans is so good that you can find them anywhere in every nook and corner of the world. So thus, these are the reasons which make me a firm defender of the idea of opening of 100 Sainik schools in PPP mode, public-private participation mode. This certainly will pave way for Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-confident India, self-confident nation with more number of stakeholders. Only the difference is that even now we have got Sainik schools, there are 33 in number at present. If at all, but these 33 schools, they are in fact they are governed by a Sainik School Society under Ministry of Defence, for which Raksha Rajamantri is the chairman, and thereafter we have got the state government also contributing its might for these schools. So the stakeholders as on date are basically two, but once the PPP mode comes, there will be many more stakeholders. They can be NGOs, they can be private schools, then central government headed by the Sainik School Society, and you got Ministry of Defence, then you got state government. So like that. So the stakeholders will be many. So of course, more the merrier. It should be more the merrier. It should not be the other way around. So we anticipate that, and we are sanguine that this thing will happen for our good. When I got a call from Sainik School Society as a major sub for attending the interview for joining the school, it was a pleasant surprise. I was at Special Frontier Force headquarters. I was really enjoying my job there. I was, in fact, 6 in 1 there. I was holding 6 appointments at a time. My commandant was so happy with me, so he had given me a lot of responsibilities. So anyhow, that is a different story. So at that point of time, somehow they felt that I'm required at Sainik School Satara to do another big assignment. So they have called me. So when I was called, I started scanning through the aims and objectives of Sainik Schools vis-a-vis other schools. Because aims, first of all, when I'm going to be the trainer there, because headmaster nowadays they are calling him as vice principal, he is the training in charge of the entire school. So there is an administrative officer who is responsible for the administration, and principal is the overall in charge. So all three of us are from services. So our principal was, when I joined, it was Colonel Matthew Murikin. And thereafter, we have got a registrar from Air Force, that time Flight Lieutenant Milind Deshpande. So he was there. So, and we three really formed a fantastic team. And gentlemen, that really matters a lot. As service officers, if you three can click, if you three can gel nicely, the institution runs. It can win laurels. There is sky is the limit. That's it. So that way we have done. You know, I'm proud to say that during my tenure there, all 3.5 years, that means almost 4 years, all 3 years I can say, because 4th year I was out from there in the mid of the academic session. So all 3 years we have got 100% result. And when I joined, the school had a humble contribution to NDA, but year by year I kept on developing it. So initially it was 6 boys, then it was 10 boys, then it was 15 boys, and finally it was 18 boys who have joined the NDA. And let me tell you, with a lot of pride and honor, that in my last attempt for the NDA examination, we have almost 75 boys have cleared the examination, and 18 boys got selected for NDA. So it's a very big, satisfying experience for me for that way. So this is then I'm coming back to this aims and objectives of Sainik Schools vis-a-vis other schools. As it is already known, the Sainik Schools form the cradle of military leadership and act as feeder institutions to NDA, NAVAC, and AFA as on date. This is what the main objective is. Military schools and RIMC also form the fulcrum of intake into these academies. The terms of reference differ only at entry level, because in RIMC they take it at a different level, and at the Sainik Schools they take it at a different level. So entry level only is different. Target population. The target population is also different from school to school, and background of the students. Student background also differs from one school to other school. So this is the crux of the issue, which differs from other schools such as Navodaya, Kendriya Vidyalayas, Eklavya schools, and other government as well as corporate schools, which emphasize on the all-round development of the child, less the basic military training imparted at Sainik Schools. So that is the hairline difference. Actually, the aim of education is the modification of human behavior. So we want to develop excellent youth, because they are after all the future of this country. So we want to mold them as useful citizens to the nation with knowledgeable citizens. We want to prepare such people, such boys. So this aim is, it is common to all. But only the main difference, the hairline difference, which you may call as that it occurs at the military ethos and military training, military oriented training, which is important at Sainik Schools. The objectives of the scheme at Sainik Schools include the removal of imbalances in the officer cadre of the defense forces and provide an opportunity to the children from rural areas and poor socio-economic conditions. So it should be even. The spread should be even. It should be a normal distribution. It should not be a wonking. So it should not be a skewed distribution. It should be a normal distribution. It should be a bell-shaped curve. And so this is what we are, the Sainik schools are aimed at. Then, while fulfilling our tasks, certain problems are visualized. What are the problems which we visualized? First is the intake of NDA is 300 plus cadets. That's all, except around 300 cadets are taken in a term. That is for every 6 months, 300 cadets. Per annum, it is 600. We can't increase it. It is a limited number. Apart from Sainik schools, the rest of the schools in the country also will be competing for the entry. Many schools, even see, it's open to any school. Even I'm not from a Sainik school, or I'm not from a public school. I am from a very humble, sort of small little school. That's it. So I also got selected. So same way, the Sainik schools they aim at this particular aspect of making the cadets knowledgeable so that they enter into National Defence Academy. Therefore, the aim of making Sainik schools as feeder institutions to NDA to be amended. I feel that way, because if so many schools are coming up just for one aim, then I think it will be the demand versus supply. If you say that the supply will be more and demand will be less, like that. Therefore, we have to even it out. So this will be necessary, as there will be 100 plus 33 Sainik schools, of which 33 were well established. They are very well established right now and entrenched in the inviolable, the sacred task of providing officers for the cadets for the National Defence Academy. So my suggestion is to broaden the horizons of this class. This class of being feeder institutions, to act as feeder institutions to these academies, that needs to be broadened. So I've got certain suggestions which I'll make now. My suggestion is to broaden the horizons of this clause by including the entries of National Defence University courses. So various National Defence University is in the offing. It's in the pipeline, and anytime it will come up. It is fortunately next to my house. It's very quite nearby. It's near MCME. So I mean, it's very approachable to me. So we can broaden the scope in that fashion, that it includes the Sainik school training must include the strategies for entering into National Defence University courses, then paramilitary forces academies. You've got a lot of paramilitary forces, maybe BSF or ITBP or Coast Guard. You can name all these things. They come, of course, under Ministry of Home Affairs. So all these institutions also can be, they can be aimed at by the cadets of Sainik schools hitherto. So this is what it is. In future, that's what it is. Then the AWES institutions. AWES is Army Welfare Education Society. So under the aegis of this particular AWES institution, we have got AFMC, we have got AICT, that is Army Institute of Catering Technology, Hotel Management and Catering Technology. It is also very famous. Then we have got EIT, Army Institute of Technology is there. Then ADC, Army Dental Corps, which is again situated here in Secunderabad. Then apart from these institutions, we can also aim at training the cadets for DRDO, DIPR, that is Defense Institute of Psychological Research Institute, IDSA, then we have got CLASS, Center for Land Air Warfare Studies, then DIPAC. So these are certain things. Plus, we can also aim at ordnance factories and MBS. So these are various gray areas where we can lay the hands as far as Sainik school products are concerned, because the products are so competent, and they are aggressive in their marketing skills or in their propagatory skills, everything, our production skills, you name it a thing, a Sainik school boy can do many wonders, and they are doing also, let me tell you, gentlemen. If at all you happen to go to Lonavala, we have got an ex-alumni. He manufactures chocolates. He manufactures chocolates, Mr. Madan Pawar from Sainik School Satara. And he also has got a dinosaurus park, a nature conservation center there. And he has got a wildlife, he's a wildlife conservationist also. And he is doing extremely well. So this is one example just which I am quoting offhand. So we can broaden our horizons in that fashion. One thing is sure, Yuddha Anivarya hai. This is what Lord Krishna has told Arjun while giving him Gitopadesh. So so in Gita he categorically said, Yuddha Anivarya, war is imminent. Why? Not because of any external force or anything. It is because of our internal forces. Internal evil forces, which we can call them as Kam, Krodh, Mad, Lobh, Moham, Maschya. So these are masters. That means these are all the 6 evil qualities in a human being, which will develop so much of ego, which will pump up so much of ego in him, and he starts, behaving as if he is, an uncrowned king in the universe, and he is the dictator. So once he starts, developing this type of attitude, then ultimately he tries to look down the others, and ultimately it leads to unhappiness on the other side, and finally it leads to war. This is what happens in any war, if you can see. So, but these adishad varg, which are called in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, all these 6 evils are called as adishad varg. So these are very dangerous. So in future, the war is not going to be a war like 1960s. It is going to be a multi-dimensional warfare. Multi-dimensional. It includes land, air, then you got space, you got cyberspace. So a lot of dimensions are there to that. Then you got nuclear, biological, chemical warfare. So many varieties of ways of destruction man has found over a period of time. But the best form of defense is you should be strong. One should be strong enough, then only you can really guard your nation properly. So that is what is essential. So what I feel is that in the multi-dimensional future war scenario, the war effort is a collective activity. It's a team effort. It's not that only Air Force fights or only Army fights or only Navy fights. It's a collective effort. So we'll have to amalgamate all our resources, coupled with absolute coordination amongst them, which is highly relevant, gentlemen. Otherwise, we cannot win the war. So war effort is very, very complicated, and its meaning is very wide. So that's what it is. So we can, the future of Sainik schools the future Sainik schools can play a pivotal role in achieving this aim. We can further expand the base of Sainik schools to prepare the cadets not only for war, but even as future bureaucrats, technocrats, experts of artificial intelligence and robotics. Of course, I will add even disaster management, because what happened in Uttarakhand recently, and see, it can happen anywhere. Even in our own Sainik school, 57 boys fell ill yesterday only, the news in Purulia, West Bengal. Staff members also fell ill. So it is a disaster. Disasters won't come just by announcing or by, saying to everybody. So they come abruptly, and so we can train our human resources in that direction to tackle them effectively and efficiently. A point to be noted here is there will be economic, strategic, electronic, cyber, and spatial wars as versus physical wars in future. This I already covered. So to make our country strong, it is imperative to train the future generation in all these aspects of war, as they are fought in human minds first, because the human mind is the genesis. Every thought results in action, gentlemen. If we have got noble thoughts, if we think in proper direction, our actions will be nice and proper. If we think wonky, if we start thinking in a different direction, then obviously, we go haywire, and we may be doomed in any case. So this is what it is. So in all these aspects of war, which are fought in human minds first, and the minds of peace have to be conditioned accordingly. So the walls of defense of wars have to be built in the minds. They have to be properly conditioned. They have to be properly conditioned. So if conditioning is good, well, we can produce excellent, defenders for our nation. Then other problem which I visualize in future in establishing these 100 Sainik schools is staff constraints. But see, in the existing model of each Sainik school, we require 3 officers, 3 PT instructors, 3 NCC staff members from armed forces. This is what the main contribution by the Ministry of Defense for the Sainik schools, because they are sparing their own specialized officers, and they who are selected lot, who are in the top notch and top echelon. They will select them and then they send them here. So with a high career profile, profile whosoever has got, only such officers are selected and given this noble task of molding the children, because after all, their prestige is also at stake. So that's what it is. So nobody would like to take a chance. So thus there is a requirement of almost 900 members to be provided by IHQ of MOD, that is Integrated Headquarters of Ministry of Defense. So 900 officers and men from all the 3 services. I think it's really a nightmare. It's not possible. In fact, during my tenure, the Sainik School Satara was vacant because of lack of headmaster for almost 6 months. After I left, after 6 months, the other officer had come. So like that, there are certain lacunae and limitations, and so much of congestion for adjusting the officer cadre. Looking at the present state of manpower constraints, it is virtually ruled out to provide such huge number of uniformed staff. Hence, there is a dire need to tap the resources from the pool of officers from the retired lot of armed forces, with a particular reference to AEC, who have a sea of experience in holding similar appointments during their illustrious career. Gentlemen, I would like to make a mention here that apart from Sainik School, I was exposed to our nursery school, Marshall Nursery School, as secretary, because by virtue of my appointment as staff officer training and coordination in Pachmadi. So I started as a secretary of that school. Then in brigades, of course, we have been managing brigade education schools and all that, and libraries. And when I joined the core headquarters, I told you I had 2 core headquarter appointments. There I was managing as a secretary of the Army Public Schools, managed by the AWES, which I already told you earlier. So Army Welfare Education Society manages them, and I was made as headmaster, de facto headmaster, even you can say, because headmaster was new, he was hardly knowing anything. So I had to manage the school for all practical purposes. So I had to train him, guide him and all that. And also I was looking after the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sanghatan, the Kendriya Vidyalaya, which was located in our cantonment area. It was an op area, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. So we had to, be very careful there. So we had the Kendriya Vidyalaya also located within our own campus at Dimapur. So I was taking care of that school also. And again, the same thing happened there also. I had to train the principal, because principal was new, and there also I took the role of principal almost of the KV. So this is what it is. So because of the vast experience behind us will fit into the team nicely. So therefore, in addition to this, at macro level, in addition to all these appointments, at macro level, the requirement of quality teachers, clerical staff, hostel superintendents, and general employees, it needs to be looked into. Because in my, we had 42 teachers in Sainik School Satara when I was there. And plus we had the almost 103 administrative employees. So you can see the volume of manpower required to run any Sainik school as such. Because the area was almost 125 acres. So lot of area to govern, and this was really essential. So manpower was essential for that. So the appointment of teachers is a vital parameters in deciding the future course of action, as they form the backbone for imparting quality education to the students. Let me tell you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that the quality of education depends upon the teachers. And I had a fantastic team of teachers with me. They were very, very learned people. Their contribution was too good. And especially one teacher, he was so, into the system. Even when I used to go for my rounds at 3 o'clock at night, I used to see him. I used to see him roaming around and being and guiding the boys in the study room. So this is what the commitment they had. And one teacher, I appreciate him even till date. I have got a lot of honor for him. He, along with his brother, who was posted in Meerut, and along with him in liaison with the military authorities, he managed so many horses to our stable. So we had 12 horses. And as a trainer, I found that I was not knowing the horse riding as such, though at academy, it was just a sort of, just for the introduction only, I did that much. So I was not really a good rider. And I made it a point that as a trainer, first of all, I must learn. So I started learning horse riding, and let me tell you, gentlemen, I became one of the reasonably good riders while leaving the school. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction. My students also have made a point. They made a point about my riding skills. They said, "Sir, you are doing so well." So these are the problems as far as staff constraints are concerned. These things have to be addressed by the authorities at the helm. Then next point which I visualize of a problem which I visualize is there are many stakeholders. As I already covered, there are only two stakeholders right now: state government and the central government. But now in this proposal, of PPP mode, there are NGOs, there is Ministry of Defense, there are state government, there is state government, then we have got corporate houses, then we have got private schools. So many, people are involved in it, in establishment of this school. So a meticulous selection of voluntary, selfless NGOs with clear motives and devoid of any vested interests with noble intentions is the need of the hour, without which it is impossible to realize this dream. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just confirm this to you, because even with two stakeholders also, there were many problems which we have faced as the staff running the school, because my principal and at times even me as an officiating principal, we had to run around the corridors of the park, whether it is Mumbai or whether it is Pune. We used to make a lot of trips just to get the grants. So this type of, these many problems we had to face. So if now the stakeholders are many, then you can imagine how many such problems can crop up. But I'm not sounding negative, but what I'm trying to tell you is that we have to gear up ourselves. We have to plan for such eventualities, which is essential, and without which our dreams cannot be realized to the fullest extent possible, as we visualize that. Next, there should be absolute coordination between all these five stakeholders, at least to begin with a clear demarcation of their charter of responsibilities, which needs to be worked out in detail by the planners. Whosoever is planning the school, they have to plan accordingly. Otherwise, things may go wrong anytime, gentlemen. And Sainik schools are such volatile places. I used to keep my fingers crossed every day. If it passes off smoothly, I used to thank the Almighty God that, okay, fine, today is over. But let me tell you, I was awake 24 hours almost. And my car used to be my ambulance, because calling the school bus, that fellow gets up and he brings the car, bus and all that. It used to take a lot of time. So my Maruti 800 used to be there with me. It was my workhorse. I used to take it and then rush to the hostels. Even at night, I slept a lot of sleepless nights in that school. But let me tell you, it gives me satisfaction, gentlemen. That is fantastic experience. For my own children, I did it. So that's one. Next, budgetary constraints, because everything revolves around the finances after all. So money makes many things. So money is the important aspect in life. So when I was officiating as principal of Sainik School Satara, as I already told you, I used to invariably visit the corridors of power to get the funds released. Since the pensions form a part of annual budget, a lot of money used to go towards pensions only. So it used to be extremely difficult to meet both the ends. So my principal used to tell the inspecting officer and whosoever big personality, whosoever used to visit our school, he used to tell him that, sir, at the end of the month, I don't have even money to buy a chalk, even a piece of chalk. So this is what he used to always say, because, unless you cry, nobody will listen to you. So, this type of situation should not come. We have to avoid that. If at all you want really results, output, the money should be available, of course, with due checks and balances. So, as the previous speakers have also dwelt with this subject, a lot of my erstwhile senior officers, they have already spoken about this aspect. So, they all have come to a collective conclusion that a minimum of 3 crore per annum budget should be allocated for the future Sainik schools which are going to come up. So this may be adequate, to run the school in a smooth fashion. So the government needs to take adequate measures to release the funds in time. The CSR, that is corporate social responsibility, which we call, and yes, we are at their mercy. If they want to really give something to the school, they can give. But the moral of the story is that we cannot entirely bank upon them for all the needs. So they have to do. The government has to find ways and means by which they can generate money and they can pump in that money to the schools. So due to this state and due to this particular aspect, the state and central governments may make provisions combinedly in their respective annual budgets towards this aspect. So whichever state presents the annual budget, they should definitely earmark this money. This is important. Then next hurdle or bottleneck, you may call it as, is allotment of land. In the present setup, the state government is allocating the required land for the schools. This model may be adopted to deal with the land issues. So even for the future schools also, we can request the state government to allocate the land. Of course, gone are those days when Maharajas used to allocate the, give it as a dole, the land. And a lot of schools, how they can boast of having lands even beyond 500 acres. So some schools are having that way. Even Sainik School Korukonda, for example, here in our state, it has got so much of land. And the palace of Vijayanagara Empire, that means in Vijayanagara Empire, the emperors, they have given a lot of land. They're dynasty people, they have already given a lot of land. So land is not a problem in those days, but now, keeping in view the constraints of the land and the real estate, we can say that the minimum 30 acres of land may be allocated for establishing a Sainik school, which is adequate. This is what the previous speakers, they already they came to a rapprochement on this issue, and they have made a conclusion on this issue. So that's what it is. Then finally, the other main issue which was talked about earlier was that entry of girls into the Sainik schools. So far it is, except for the school in Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram, I think it is Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. I think they are the only two schools where 6 girls have been, admitted recently. But except these two schools, most of the schools have only boys. So keeping in view the women entry in armed forces, it is high time to induct girls into Sainik schools as well as NDA. This will pave way for mutual exchange of ideas and wider vistas of knowledge. They can open their horizons, and it will be a beautiful interaction. And I mean, we are after all living in the 21st century, so it is better if we think in a progressive way. So women empowerment is more important, and that way this really contributes a lot towards that end. However, there will be certain bottlenecks in the beginning which need to be addressed on priority. So whenever a new thing starts, after all, we human beings are resistant to the change. So we have got that inertia. So that initial inertia has to be, it should be taken out. So it will go out, it will be sorted out over a period of time. So the idea of opening of Sainik schools exclusively for girls also may be worked out. To begin with, if you don't want to make a happy combination of both, then at least make out of 100, you can make around 40 odd schools for girls exclusive, and remaining can be boys. So and moreover, even the reservation quota is also there. So you can have even some schools totally dedicated for even the reserved category people also. That also can be done in case they wish so. So this is one aspect which I wanted to cover. And finally, when the apex body of which is really managing the Sainik schools from a very macro point of view, that is the Sainik School Society. So initially there used to be only one inspecting officer, ladies and gentlemen. Only one inspecting officer. He used to have so much of pressure to inspect almost 18 schools. So now that the number has increased also, so we have got 2 inspecting officers, inspecting officer A and inspecting officer Alpha and inspecting officer Bravo, that is B. So the honorary secretary there used to be, but one IS officer detailed for, he was there, he was earmarked for that. But unfortunately, he was so busy and engrossed into so many other jobs. It was virtually difficult to find him. So the honorary secretary and a training officer who is posted there at Sainik School Society, they are so hard pressed to deal with the quantum of Sainik schools. With the increase in the number of schools, we can visualize more number of disciplinary cases, anonymous letters, and volume of work. Voluminous work will be there at that level. A teacher may be very, I don't call it as trigger happy. He may be pen happy to write an anonymous letter and then post it against any of the reasons any of the causes which may occur in the science school. But look at the volume of work which they have to face. 100 plus 33, 133 science schools will be there, and how many letters? I think it's very difficult to really handle it unless the staff is really proportionately increased. So there should be an increment in the staff. So this is what I feel. And finally, I have got a suggestion from my side, because alumni is alumni. They have got that spiritual, emotional bondage with the school. So there are old boys associations in every school almost. They have got excellent, rapport with the school management, and their contribution is immense. Let me tell you this way. So at present, old boys associations are contributing immensely in the development of their respective schools. As the objective of establishing new schools is more or less the same. The objective is more or less the same, but as I told you, we may have to modify it at certain gray areas. State-wise consultancy services and financial contributions from them may be considered, because most of them, they are NRIs. A lot of science school boys are settled in abroad, and still they have got a lot of attachment with the school. So they are very well to do. And even in our own country, as I quoted, our friend. So there are so many big business house, people, so many science school boys who are holding very big business houses. So such people can be requested to give us the consultancy, to give us the consultancy services, what actually they want out of their experience. We can even, I request Dr. Sharmaji to call few of them, one each from each school, perhaps, maybe their president or someone, to talk about the present state of affairs in the school. So this really is a valuable suggestion from my side, if you think so. Their human resources potential needs to be effectively tapped. So the human resources are very important. Human potential, it is infinite. I can say it is infinite. So we can achieve impossible things with human resources. So human resources are the things which we have to tap, and we have to mold the students accordingly. So these are the points which I wanted to share with you. This is, after all, my experience which speaks. And if sir has got any, he wants to quiz me, he can. And any other questions, sir, you are most welcome to. And I will try. I'll make a humble attempt to answer within my jurisdiction.
Thank you very much.
And
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Colonel Subramaniam, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You have taken all the points so well. I got so much post of Colonel Inder Mohan, sir, and others. Is beautiful which you have given. You have covered all aspects. You have covered every area. Nothing is unattended. I think you have covered almost all points. The only thing is, what comes to my mind, I would like to request you, what message would you like to give to the younger generation, those are coming to Sainik Schools?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question, sir. The most important, thing which I expect out of our students is commitment. They should be committed, and there should be a determination, and they must have patriotic fervor. Unless you love your country, unless you take pride in your own culture, like in Sainik School Satara, we used to have Dashara, we used to have Ganpati celebration, Ganpati Navaratri. These are all Maharashtrian festivals. They are the embodiment of their culture. So we used to really enjoy it. All the students, they are so humble. They all used to seek the blessings of the teachers by touching their feet.
Very well.
Because Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So Guru is so important. So they used to give so much of honor, and let me tell you, no teacher worth his salt will sham his duties or will take it lightly when really a student he has bowed down in front of him and prostrated in front of him and seeking knowledge from him.
Wonderful.
So it's a wonderful, sort of inspiration. It's a motivation. So the motivation which the children provide to the teachers, it is something, it is utopian. It has to be felt. It has to be felt. It has to be.
Finally,
so therefore, what I feel is that the children have to be, first of all, they have to be respectful to their elders. They have to give respect to their age and experience and service. And they should always aim at learning from others. And for learning, there is no scope, even from a small person from the strata of our society. He may be a peon or he may be a small LDC, but we have to learn from him. Yes. There is a lot to learn from, even for me. I used to think like that. So for every human being is he is a personification of the Almighty God. So God is Atma Sarva Bhutanam. That means Atma is in every human being. So we have to really adore the human hiding inside the God is hiding inside the human being.
Okay, wonderful.
So that is what is essential, sir. So I do that. Great. Next comes to the parents and parents. After all, we visit the planet Earth only once, and we die only once. We don't die 100 times. There is in our Gorkha regiment, there is a saying, Khayar hunu banda marnu ramro. That means it is better to die than to be a coward, a timid chap. A timid chap, a coward dies every minute. Yes. But whereas a brave soldier, a brave person who wants to face the odds in life with fortitude, with courage, such guy can really, he can do wonders. So that is what is essential. One need not be unduly scared. I am also having only one son and one daughter, of course. So I am sending my son to the armed forces. I told him he wanted to go to armed forces. I said, go, enjoy yourself, find your life. So this is what the degree of freedom you have to give to your wards. You have to inspire them. You have to tell them, and one should take pride in safeguarding the nation in that fashion. So send your wards into the armed forces, which is really welcome, especially in a democratic country like ours.
Thank you. Very valuable input. I just wish to know, with this title, music part was there. What is that?
Right, sir. Now you came on to the nail, sir. Now it is red hot. You hit it there. So anyhow, sir, the thing is that as far as music is concerned, it is my hobby.
Okay.
Right from my childhood, I used to hum a lot.
Okay.
My father was a classical musician. He was a Carnatic vocalist.
Ah.
So I have got a legacy of in my family. Even my grandfather, he used to sing the songs of Saigal, KL Saigal. So this is in my blood, and let me tell you, Pankaj Malik and Saigal and all these were heard when I was a small kid. So yoga and music, they are my hobbies, and thanks to yoga, this is my marriage suit which I am putting on, and it still fits me.
Are you of the opinion that music can make education more innovative, interesting, creative?
Definitely, sir. It is really required. I am proud to tell you that you may also tune into my songs. I sang 165 songs in Star Maker.
165 songs?
Yes, sir. All songs from Bollywood, Then few from Tollywood also. That is few Telugu songs, very few. I sang maximum Hindi songs. They range from Mahendra Kapoor and Bhupen Hazarika.
Okay.
Then I sang Saigal and a lot of celebrities like even Muhammad Rafi and all this.
Very good. So जाते जाते एक महेंद्र कपूर का गाना तो थोड़ा सा बनता है ना, थोड़ा सा होना चाहिए because कुछ थोड़ा सा music होना चाहिए because let's get a taste of it because I personally feel music should be integral part of all subject, all education ecosystem.
Certainly.
It's very, very important. If you want children to be tension free, away from all pressures,
yes,
enjoy whatever they are doing, music is the only way. And you have done one more thing, you're doing yoga also. So
yes,
yoga and music, that's commendable.
So what happened, sir, after my retirement, I opened my own music academy. I have published books. I've got 2 books on music.
Okay.
I have got 14 disciplines with me and 8 teachers. I used to pay salaries to them, each around 15,000 plus. So I used to pay.
In music, you are more towards vocal or towards
instrumental? More towards vocal, sir. But my institute has got facilities for guitar, then keyboard, sitar, tabla, violin, then kuchipudi dance. So all these forms are there. I've got 14 disciplines all in all.
I'm so very happy.
And I've got 150 students, sir, to just tell you. And it gives me immense satisfaction because after serving the army for 32 years, somehow I don't want to, again go and serve under somebody. So I wanted to have my own startup part of thing.
Let us hear you, Sir Mahendra Kapoor.
Sir.
Before we close down. Yeah. We deserve, sir.
Sir, I'll just give you, shall I play the song here itself?
देखिए sir, आप आराम से, it is your show, it is your program, and it is a request from your host. We should have, ladies and gentlemen, something coming from Mahendra Kapoor because his voice, I adore more than Muhammad Rafiji's.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Because the moment you mentioned his name, certain chords, they have woken up in my mind.
Fine, sir. Sir, shall I sing this song, Samsar Ki
Sir, वो थोड़ा sad song है. थोड़ा वो sad song है, sir.
Okay, you want anything?
That is more philosophical song, sir.
Exactly.
संसार की हर शय का इतना ही फसाना है. एक धुंध से आना है, एक धुंध में जाना है.
Correct. That is what it is.
That is Ravi's Sangeet.
Yes.
And it was Mahendra Kapoor. I still recall. It was Sanjay Dutt. It was Zeenat Aman, and it was Denny.
Okay, sir. So, sir, I think I can sing Lakho Hai Dilwale.
O.P. Nayyar's music, movie's name is Kismat.
Correct. Oh my God, sir, it seems you are also a singer, sir. No, it should be your song after mine.
I enjoy, sir. I enjoy.
Okay. Lakho Hai Dilwale, right?
Yeah, sir. If you play any instrument, you can take that also, sir.
No, sir. Lakho Hai.
Anything which you enjoy, sir. There is absolutely anything you enjoy.
Because see, only the thing is that I am looking for the lyrics part of it.
Sir, बड़ा simple है. लाखों है यहाँ दिल वाले और प्यार नहीं मिलता. आंखों में किसी की वफा का इकरार नहीं मिलता.
Correct.
बस इतना सुना दीजिए.
Yeah. लाखों है यहाँ दिल वाले और प्यार नहीं मिलता. आंखों में किसी की वफाता इकरार नहीं मिलता. लाखों है यहाँ दिल वाले और प्यार नहीं मिलता. आंखों में किसी की वफा था, इकरार नहीं मिलता.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
I sang this song in Star Maker, sir. You can listen to it. With karaoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, we should get back to the era. This movie was Kismat. Music was by O.P. Nayyar. This was sung by Mahendra Kapoor. And he was with the guitar when he was performing this particular song on the screen, Vishwajit. Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you with us because I'm very happy. Music should be the integral part of education. And one of these days, let's have a special program. We will give you a lot of inputs from our chamber because last 8 years, we are doing a lot of research, music for physics, music for chemistry, music for mathematics, music for biology, music for geography, music for history, and music for beautiful living.